These are some neat little stickers here. It's a cat inside a sushi roll, a cat inside a pomegranate, and a cat inside a meat bun. I hope that there are no cats inside sushi rolls or meat buns. Anyway, Wixoss. Yes, I got a Wixoss deck here. It is Urith's Miasma, I should say. We've got foil Urith, which is very, very cute. I like the new design for her where her hair is grown out. I don't like short hair girls. I think it's kind of yucky, you know. Girls look pretty with long hair. Anyway, we got a 52 card deck included, a foil Urith, a foil Phalaris, Code Ancients. Excuse me. This is English edition. I had to order this from like Italy. Now let me just take a look. I'm not sure if this is a foil deck like the DMX deck or if this is just a few foil cards like the like the Tama, Hanayo, and Midori deck. But let's take a look at the card list here. So this is actually Akino, she's white, Urith, she's black, and Tamago. I like Dr. Tamago a lot actually, so I'm happy about this. I don't think this deck has random bad though, that sucks. A lot of Signies, barely any spells, and then we got Miasma, Labyrinth, and Never Surrender. And then we got Urith, Maniacal Enma. That's new art. We got like Force Center, Elrig, the Assist Elrigs, the Peace cards. And the main deck is 40 cards, 38 Signy, only 2 spells. That's kind of wild. Well, Servant Sharp you might even consider a spell card just because you're almost always going to use her as a like block if you can. 2 Phalaris, that's not bad. With new art, that's pretty neat. And let me just see. I don't recognize any of these other cards. Anna Mirage, I think that was a card I heard was pretty good. Curson, I don't remember that. Caesar, Typhon, Buckler, Renove. Yeah. Other than Baphomet, I don't really recognize all these cards. So, I actually don't think you can run random bad in this deck because you need all of Dr. Tamago's team, right? It has to be Uchu no Hajimari, so I guess that makes sense. I'm sure you, well no, you couldn't because Uchu no Hajimari doesn't have black in it, so you couldn't like put Urith in there. And I'm just gonna open this up real quick. Okay. So yeah, I like the art on here. We got, oh that's cool. Okay, so the last time I bought one of these Wixoss decks is they didn't come with like a strategy insert, but this one does have it. So this was actually a recently made deck. I think this came out a few months back. I could just never get a good pre-order for it. But wow, that's cool. I like when these decks come with like a strategy insert. So we got a deck with stable attack power for quick victory. The battle style of this deck is always aggressive. Center Elrig, Urith, I can't pronounce that word for whatever reason, I apologize. Urith, Maniacal Enma can retrieve Black Signy with her Enter ability. This enable immediately set up, oh, there's a bit of a ESL moment here. This enable immediately set up your mainstay Signy onto your field. This enable immediately set up your mainstay Signy onto your field. That is not a sentence. In addition, Peace can also find effective Signy from your trash to your hand depending on the situation to deal with all your opponent's Signy threats. It has the ability to add life cost once a game, giving it an advantage over many Elrigs in pure life damage race. The action ability to put cards from your deck into your trash when needed also synergizes with various Signy and makes the deck more powerful. Hey, that's cool. How to fight in turns 1 and 2. Use Assist to reduce opponent's life cloth as much as possible. While your center Elrig is level 2 or less, use the aggressive abilities of Tamago Beating, Akino Rock, Caesar Wicked General, and Karasawa Doom General to deal damage to your opponent as much as possible. If you play first, your opponent is likely to have the first Servant Sharp in their hand. So, from the aim to enable the Elrig's attack easily, it'll be a good choice to grow your Tamago symbol roll on the second turn. On the other hand, In the case of your opponent plays first, oh my word, this is a little painful to read through. Of your opponent plays first, playing first. Your opponent has already guard with Servant Sharp. You have a better chance of damaging your opponent if you grow after turn 3 when their hand is more likely to increase. See, I'm familiar with how people write and type with like English as their second language, so I understand what it's saying, but the momentary disconnect of having to translate it in my mind is still quite a thing, alright? Anyway, you can return your opponent's high power level 2 or less Signy, which is hard to defeat with the ability to minus the power with your black Signy back to your opponent's hand. This will be a good option to use as an attack pattern on the second... wait, that's not second, it said scound turn, what? Yeah, there's no letter U in second. Scound turn, your opponent plays first, or on the third turn when you play first. And for Tamago, the main role is to make your opponent's hand discard Servant Sharp from the hand, but if not, it is also useful to make them discard other important cards of their opponent. Of their opponent. It's also a good choice to put 3 level 2 Signy on the field by growing limit +1 on the turn 2. Oh my goodness. This doesn't help because I have a cold, so my head's a little fuzzy, and that's just a generic game mat. I think it comes with another one, but this one just teaches you how to play Wixoss, which is nice because the website doesn't really help. But yeah, see, it'll teach you everything you need to know to be a great Wixster. Yeah, that's cool. Card types, and yeah, this is like not really a 2-player set. It's just a bunch of cards. But anyway, let's continue reading. Aim for refresh, also to decide the game quickly. Do not slow down your attack after turn 3 and put cards from your opponent's deck into their trash to reduce the number of cards in their deck while aiming for refresh to put your opponent's life cloth into its owner's trash. Vanish your opponent's low power Signy with Dark Energy Full Armed or Animirage Doomed Evil and use Miasma Labyrinth or Reticle Trigger to varnish. Oh, okay, varnish your opponent's high power Signy. You can't vanish with them. Okay. You can use Phalaris Code Ancients or Dragon Maid Phantom Dragon Queen's ability to put cards from your opponent's deck into their trash instead, and aim for refresh your opponent's deck at least once. The Game 1 ability of Urith, Maniacal Enma, I said it right this time, does not necessarily need to be used immediately, so it's best to use when you expect to be able to withstand your opponent's attack next turn by using your own life cloth. This piece allows you to choose 3 effects when your center Elrig reaches level 3. If you don't have the Servant Sharp in your hand, number 3 is the best choice in many cases when you need to put a few more cards from your opponent's deck into their trash until your opponent refreshes. You can choose number 4 too. Choose the effect you need depending on the situation. Sounds pretty powerful. And then we got Akino Bye Bye. Since this is the only card in the deck that can prevent against Signy attacks and return any Signy from your opponent to their hand. What? It would be ideal if this card can be used offensively or defensively and you're about to be damaged by your opponent's high power Signy or by Signy that is resistant to vanish. Let's check this out. It is Urith, Maniacal Enma. This cutout sheet was really hyping this up, so let's read her ability. It says, add up to 2 target black Signy from your trash to your hand. I like how in the background you have Tama, Midori, and Hanayo playing music. That's kind of cute. Action, turn 1, 0 colorless. I don't get that. Declare a number from 1 to 3. Put a number of cards from the top of your deck into your trash equal to the declared number. Okay, so you just mill yourself for free, but I don't get why it has a cost symbol if it costs 0. Does it just mean if you have the available energy? And then once per game, you can discard 2 cards, and this Elrig gains auto once per turn. When this Elrig attacks, add 2 cards without life burst from your trash to your life cloth until end of turn. That's pretty cool. So you basically just filter through your deck. And then, okay, so the rest of the deck is not foil, from what I can tell. The piece cards are, but we got Urith Enma. That's just her basic. Well, I like Urith. She's very... She's a sweetie. She just needs someone to hug her and tell her that she's nice and sweetie pilled. And then we got Urith, Burning Enma, no effect. She looks kind of mad. I like her spear thing. It's very similar to Tama's, but not similar. And Urith, Fatal Enma. That's pretty cool. So she's doing like, I like her boots. like your weird headscarf thing. I still don't understand. And then we got Akino, Bound for the Future. I love Akino. She's a real sweetie. You just want to hug her and tell her that everything's gonna be all right. And then we got Akino Rock. She's punching. Ability: return target Signy level 2 or less. Return target level 2 or less Signy on your opponent's field to the owner's hand. Okay. Akino Bye Bye. That's pretty nice. And she has an enter. Return target Signy on your opponent's field to the owner's hand, and then you can pay 1 white and a colorless to add a Signy with Guardian from your trash to your hand. That's pretty good. And then we got Newborn Dr. Tamago. This is also from the Tamago deck. It's just basic Tamago. Tamago Beating. I don't think I've got this one. Put target level 1 Signy on your opponent's field on the bottom of its owner's deck. Dang, that's pretty good. That's a once per game effect because you're only going to activate it once when it enters. And then we got Tamago Symbol Roll. Enter, draw 2 cards, look at your opponent's hand, and then discard a card, look at your opponent's hand, and choose a card your opponent discards it. So I don't know if you have to pick one of these or if you just do them in whatever order you wish. That's pretty cool though. And then we got Miasma Labyrinth. I like how Tama and Piruluk are like very nervous, and Urith is just kind of happy. She's got cool claw gloves. I didn't notice that. So let's see. Use condition Dream Team. You have 3 Elrig on your field, 3 or more different colors among the members. Okay, and then you can choose one of the following for each of your center Elrig's levels. So if you have level 1, 2, 3, and 4, you get to activate it. So level 1 probably won't come up. Target Signy on your opponent's field gains minus 12,000. Level 2 is put a Signy from your trash into your field. Level 3 is add target Signy from your trash to your hand. Okay, and then level 4 is each player puts the top 7 cards of their deck into their trash. Oh, that's pretty brutal. I see what the thing was going for though. It's like you're trying to mill the opponent so they waste a turn refreshing, and then you basically get to attack them with like it's almost like a time lock. And then we have Never Surrender. If you have no cards in your hand, add up to 2 target Signy without a Guardian from your trash to your hand. So I'm pretty sure that's just servants you can't grab. Pretty good though. I like the picture of Ray, or whatever her name was. Then we got Renove, Azure Evil. At the end of your turn, if 3 or more cards were put from your deck into your trash this turn, draw a card. Oh, that's nice. And then her life burst is Drown, okay. Down target Signy on your opponent's field and freeze it, and then draw 1. That's pretty good. And you get 4 of those. Very nice. You got Karasawa, Doom General. And during your opponent's turn, when you pay an exceed cost, you may pay 1 black, and if you do, target Signy on your opponent's field gets minus 5,000 power. That's cool. So I think there's only a few exceeds because you have, what's it called? You have that spell reticle. But it's like a once per turn exceed, so I don't really understand the necessity of that. That's kind of a very niche synergy. But we got Baphomet, the Cursed Evil. She's pretty good because as long as you have 5 or more cards in your trash, it gets plus 4,000 power, but not for each 5. And then her enter is you just mill yourself by 3, which is good since this deck has a lot of effects that just make you dig through your grave and add more cards from there to it. So we got a set of that, and then we got Maestama, Blessed Doomed Angel. Okay, she's got a weird umbrella. She's just a vanilla dual card. It reminds me of Duel Masters when they'd have like just stuff like Gonta. They didn't have enemy colors in Duel Masters though. That was a Kaijudo thing. If you guys remember, you remember. And we got 2 Kursan. I think she was from the Tamago deck last time I saw her. Anyway, during your turn, when 1 or more cards are put from a deck into the trash by your effect, all Signy on your opponent's field lose their abilities until end of turn. That's pretty devastating. Anyway, we got Valaris, Code Ancients. Harmony, 2 Elrig. When this Signy enters your field, down it unless you down 2 upped Elrig on your field. So I guess as an additional cost to play her and not have her come into play tapped, you have to tap 2 of your other cards, which is also a way you can not just be able to spam her to the field, which is probably why there's only 2 copies of her. Anyway, her auto effect is whenever she vanishes a Signy on your opponent's field through battle, put the top 10 cards of that player's deck into their trash. That is insane. Another Kursan. Got Brutus, Doom General. Constant. As long as the Signy is in your center Signy field, it gains the automatic ability. Whenever it attacks, put the top 4 cards of your deck or your opponent's deck into the trash. Okay, so she's another Mill Enabler, pretty good. And we got Caesar, the Wicked General. Oh, that's cool. They look like they're performing on the same stage. I like that. Oh, you can't see it, but yeah, they look like they're performing on the same stage. It's kind of neat. I like those types of arts that are like panoramic. And we got Caesar, Wicked General. When she enters, you can pay 1 black. And if you have 7 or more cards in your trash, the Signy gains constant as long as the Signy is in front. As long as the Signy in front of the Signy has a power of 5,000 or less, the Signy gains Assassin. And that's pretty useful since a lot of these black cards have attack reductions, so you can make something really weak and then just finish it off. I think Assassin is like Death Touch. Got Typhon, the Doomed Evil. Constant. As long as the Signy is awakened, it gains plus 7,000 power, and it has the Exceed effect of putting 3 cards under your Elrig into the Elrig trash. Okay, so there are more Exceed cards for Karasawa, so interesting. But it seemed to stress using the Reticle Blast, but I guess this is your second best option if you don't open with that or have that in any of your later draws. Put 3 cards from underneath your Elrig into the Elrig trash, and then awaken this Signy. Okay, so you just get to double attack with her for an Exceed. That's decent. You may discard a card for Life Burst, and if you do, target Signy on your opponent's field, it gets minus 12,000 power until end of turn. So I see that can like synergize with Caesar. And then we got Buckler, High Armed. Oh, I like that. It's like kind of monochrome. She has no effect except for Life Burst. And then you can pay a colorless. If you do a Signy on your opponent's field, it gets minus 15,000 power. That's pretty good. And there's 3 of her. Interesting. Oh, there's a couple more foiled cards here. Okay, we got Izo, Doom General. She's not like Caesar or Brutus, she's obviously Japanese. And then we got Enter. Target Signy on your opponent's field gets minus 2,000 power until end of turn, and then you can action to discard 2 cards and put this card from your trash into your center zone. Okay, so she can summon herself from the grave. That's pretty useful. And then you can, as a Life Burst, add target Signy without a Guardian from your trash to your hand, or put it on the field. Pretty nice. So that's actually pretty useful. So like if you use her as a Life Burst, you can then summon her again, and then her Enter goes off and she minuses 2,000. So that's actually a pretty useful combat trick. I like that. And you get 2 of her. And you got Animirage, Doomed Evil. That's a weird little eye patch here. Her Rise, so I think that's when she untaps, is place on top of a Signy on your field. You cannot put this onto the field if this condition is not fulfilled. Oh, okay. Enter. Target Signy on your opponent's field gets minus 8,000 power until end of turn. And Life Burst is you can add something from your field as long as it doesn't have Guardian. Okay, so I can see why this deck has basically no spells, because it's all about just recycling your units and getting more advantage from that. And we got Dark Energy, Full Armed, Energy. I don't know how to pronounce that actually. So she's 10,000 power, and her auto is turn 1. I think it's once per turn. Whenever the power of a Signy on your opponent's field becomes 0 or less, you can enter charge 1. Wow, that's pretty good. And then when she enters, you can pay a black to make a target Signy on your opponent's field get minus 5,000. That's interesting. I'm pretty sure you can only pay that in like a single installment. And then we got Dragon Maid, Phantom Dragon Queen. That's pretty nice art. I like how it's just like bursting out of the border. That's really nice. Look at that. It's decent. It's decent foiling. I don't mind these type of flat foils because they don't warp as much, and like they showcase the art a lot better. Anyway, her auto is whenever a player refreshes their deck, you can pay 1 black, and if you do, target Signy on your opponent's field gets minus 10,000 power. And then her other auto is whenever the Signy attacks, put the top 4 cards of your deck or your opponent's deck into their trash. Okay, so yeah, that's a pretty cool synergy there. And we have 4 Servant Sharp. You basically just sacrifice it to perfect guard and attack. If you played Vanguard, it should be pretty familiar. And then we got only a pair of Reticle Trigger. What does this do? As you use the spell, you can pay Exceed 4 as an additional use cost. And then that's just taking 4 cards under your Elrig and discarding them. And target Signy on your opponent's field gets minus 5,000 power until end of turn. And if you pay the Exceed 4, it gets minus 12,000 power. Okay, so I see why this isn't, they don't really use spells in this deck. Overall though, I think that was pretty cool. I like the strategy insert explaining the general gist of how to play the deck. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The entire sealed deck, Urith's Miasma, all sleeved up, all ready to duel. I put the Elric deck cards in a separate white sleeve, and then everything else is in a fitting and flavorful, just plain old black sleeve. So hopefully I'll be able to play this soon, and I'll give you guys a report on how well it performs in sealed deck duels. Anyway, thank you for watching, and catch you gamers later.